The transporting immigrants to Democratic states, notably, what went on with
Martha's Vineyard. Yeah. So here's the thing. Biden opened the border. I think most people, even a lot of Democrats, agree that was a big mistake, right? Because you have 10 million people. We don't know who these people are. And I get some of the businesses want cheap labor, but that's not in the best interest of the United States. So I sent people to the southern border. I was the first state to help Texas. Reality is you're limited in what you can do in that situation if the feds are not going to be supportive. So Biden was literally flying people. He was flying people into Florida. Let's just be clear. He would find people in foreign countries. They would sign up through this app, and then he would fly them into the United States. And I think it was frustrating because it was putting a lot of stress on communities. It's obviously not consistent with the rule of law. I mean, I don't care if you want a lot of immigration, no immigration. We don't want people pouring in illegally. I think everyone can agree with that. So, but how do you get traction on it? And as our view is that the power centers that were more supportive of the policy were in a position they weren't having to deal with the effects of the policy. Some little town in South Texas, they're getting overrun. Some of these others are not. So you had Texas as well, sending to New York City, Chicago. Our thing with Martha's Vineyard was we knew it would be a very sharp contrast. And I didn't know how they were going to react, right? So we did it after Labor Day, so the season had ended. And so they went in, and this was all voluntary. They signed forms, whatever, saying that they wanted to go to Martha's Vineyard. And so they went. And there was 50 of them. They called out the National Guard. They got them off the island the next day. And so I think that showed a lot of people, well, wait a minute. That milieu up there, they're supportive of this. They literally, Martha's Vineyard had an office in their downtown that said, Refugee Welcome Center, nobody is illegal. They had those signs there. I don't think they ever serviced a single person, but that was what was done. So it was an ideological thing, they were doing it, but the minute they had to deal with any of the fallout from it, that did change the narrative on that. Some of the other cities too, but the Martha's Vineyard thing. And I would say if you look in the 2024 election cycle, economy, but border was very close as the number 2 issue.
There is some comedy connected to the fact that, you have these, Democratic areas which never had to kind of deal with illegal immigration, where all of a sudden you're kind of forcing their hand and giving them kind of exposure to it. On the other hand, it's like, well, the reality is, these immigrants are the kind of unintended consequence of that.
Well, it's interesting though, a lot of them, because this was done, the legislature passed money to do the transport. It was contracted out with a company that handled it. And those folks that went to Martha's Vineyard, a lot of them were saying, thank you for sending us to Martha's Vineyard. Because they had a brochure about it, the company said, hey, you can go to these places. And they were like, oh, this is great that we're here. They were upset that they got put off the island, but they were glad that they had an opportunity to do that because of where they were before that. So this idea that somehow it wasn't good, this was a place that was advertising itself as a sanctuary jurisdiction, very wealthy. I mean, one of the wealthiest enclaves in the United States. After the season had ended, they had plenty of housing and everything. And so it gave them actually a better opportunity than now. Of course, if Biden would enforce the law, it would have never come to that.
But and your goal with it was really to bring attention, because then you thought that was the best way that was going to lead to positive policy change.
And I think that got a lot of play. I mean, that was a really kind of a big, but then people start talking about the border, and they start talking about the number of people, and you started to do all that stuff. But I do think it's when you have a policy that you support that is having thousands overrun these small, poor towns in Texas, you can't even accommodate 50 of them post-season in one of the wealthiest enclaves. It just shows that these are policies that are detached from the consequences. The people that advocated them weren't having to deal with the consequences.